we'll go ahead and get started. I guess we're already recording, and we tried doing something a little bit different, and that is doing a reader's guide. I don't know if you guys saw that or downloaded it. It's also in the chat. But if I wrote a book, I would be so annoyed that some presumptuous weirdo distilled it into, or condensed it into a 9-page workbook. I mean, that would just annoy the heck out of me because I took the effort to write this book, and if I wanted to write a little workbook, I would have. But I thought it would be good for our folks, to kind of tune in the conversation, and we can only talk about so much in an hour anyway. So I thought this might be a good way to kind of help us narrow this down so that we can talk about it in an hour. What did you guys think of the workbook? Do you think that's helpful, or do you think we should do these in the future? Do you think we should just let people take what they think is most relevant from the book, or what's your favorite way to read? Do you like the reader's guides or the Cliff's Notes, or would you rather just kind of dive into the book on your own?
For me, the pager gives us guide on how to do our book club discussion. So I think it's a great way to start. And if there are any additional from our clients from the discussion, then it's also great.
Yeah, so kind of use it as a guide, but not as the agenda for the meeting or anything. But that makes sense. Great. Well, I'm glad you like it. I think we'll do this for a few months and see what people think of this format. And then if not, then we'll go back to just diving into the book and, getting everybody's first impression of the book and so on. But yeah, so hey, Ben, good to see you as well.
Morning.
Morning. And
Or
Adila.
hello, I guess. What'd you say? Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Right. And Adila, you just had an adventure recently. Did you want to tell us about it?
Yes. So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was, I was planning it for quite a few months. And then, I was a bit afraid because when I was flying in the commercial aircraft, the turbulence made me really nervous. And I knew that in the Cessna, it's going to be more, the view will be more visible. So I was like, okay, I have to think about it. But then, of course, we discussed in the team meetings about the discovery flights and everything. So it's kind of like pushed me that I should do this. I should try this. So in last week after Eid, I finally decided that I'm going to do it, and then I find the you can say flying club who was offering this, and then got the ATC clearance from them, and then finally the day arrived, and when my turn came, I was really, really nervous. Like my hands were shaking, and I was not able to pull the seat belt, buckle the seat belt. But the crew helped me with the seat belt, and then the flight started. And the pilot asked me, "So, do you want a normal one, or do you want a spicy flight?" I was like, "Please do a normal one. I cannot handle the spicy one yet." So, and then the aircraft taxied, and we were on the runway, and the aircraft took off. And I am not gonna lie, when the aircraft took off, I don't know if it's like this or the pilot did something. He did a dive or something, and I was shouting. I was like, "Please don't do this! Please don't do this! Let's keep it like normal, like normal speed, normal flight, because it's my first time." But then the aircraft was cruising. So the aircraft started cruising, and the view was very nice. It was very breathtaking, but it was really scary for me as well because it was my first time. The bird eye view of Lahore, and you are up there, and when we do swings or when we do like joy rides in uh, in fairs, so that they are connected through wires, okay, but in aircraft, it is not connected with anything. It's just flying in the sky, and I was like, But then when it started cruising and the pilot started talking, so the atmosphere calmed, and then I enjoyed. I took some pictures, I made videos, and then when it was done, I think so it was in air for like 10 to 15 minutes, and we did like a bird eye view of Lahore here and there, and then the runway. I saw the runway, and the pilot, aligned it with the center line of the runway, and it landed. And I was like, thankfully it landed, and I'm safe. But it was an amazing experience, amazing experience, and I'm going to do it again.
Of course, of course. Oh, that's great. I know. I still, I mean, even after taking all the classes and doing all the things and so forth, you go out there and you touch the airplane and it's like this big hunk of metal, and it's really hard to believe
Yes,
that, I know you can intellectually believe, the airflow and all this stuff, but it's just still really astonishing, to me. The whole experience of flight is something else. It's really,
yes.
really amazing.
Different. It's just different. Like you're in the air. You're so above the ground. Like in the commercial aircraft, you don't see. You cannot see below because it's just clouds and sky and nothing clear. But in Cessna, you can actually see the buildings. You can actually see like a globe kind of view of the ground below. So it was something else. It was on another level. Yeah.
That's amazing. I wanted to start with that because that is a story, and stories light people up because it's somebody's experience and it's somebody's feelings and somebody's real life, and this is sometimes what's missing, right? When we're all on computers all day and, we're all just, doing statistics and, all of our crazy stuff that we do with marketing. The stories are really the powerful part, right? It's just so amazing how easy it is to fall into a story. Somebody starts telling a story, and we just all start listening. And, it's just, I actually read a quote yesterday. I was reading a cookbook by Samin Nasrin. She's a Persian chef in the United States, but one of the things that she said is, the most precious gift you can give someone is your attention. And I think that is what we are asking people to do, is give us their attention. And to earn that attention, the very best way to do that is with stories. So, that's why I think this book is so, so powerful when we get it right. Um, so yeah, anyway, we were just talking about the workbook and, that kind of thing. And, if this is something that's really helpful. But I thought what we could do is kind of work through our own businesses, or, if you're on my team, think about one of the clients that you're doing content for, and let's just work through this, come up with a great story, that we can use. So, yeah, basically starting on page 2 of the workbook, if you want to maybe think of 3 proof assets, and, in Adila's case, if you were talking about the flying club that you were just working with, that might be a really good one for you since you have a story already. But, just think about how that works. What was it that caused you to go down there that day? What was it that, was it somebody else's story? Was it a video? Was it something else? What were the proof assets, really? Was it a testimonial? Was it a case study? Was it somebody telling you about it? Was it, their website had pictures? What was it that gave you the idea that you should risk your life with these crazy people and get in this little box and go up in the air? That is not a trivial thing, right? So of course, we have our one-liner. ABCI's one-liner is, we help aviation companies sell more of their products and services. But that is not as compelling as, when we put it together with a story that we did help somebody put something together. So, in a lot of cases, our proof inventory is like screenshots from SEMrush. It can be screenshots from the statistics from their from their social media. It can be those LinkedIn dashboards that we do, or that Angel does every month. And now Ying's doing as well for a lot of our clients, those LinkedIn dashboards, things like that.
Got to make sure that the hero of the story is the customer.
Right, exactly. Well, we're starting on page 2 of the workbook. So proof assets, we're not talking about hero yet. We're just talking about proof, right? Evidence.
Yeah, well, but you got to start somewhere, and I think that you need to make sure before you start anything,
Mhm.
you know who the guy is. It's going to be the rock star or the whatever. It's not you, it's them.
Yeah, exactly. And Ben and Chris, of course, you guys are um, eh, doing this yourself, basically uh, for your own company and things. One example customer that's really easy to do, of course, is Vision logbooks. They are doing aircraft records, which are never really the hero of the story, but they are certainly the guide. So, they've got lots of proof as well. So everybody's good on number 2. Everybody has 3 proof assets that you can use. And Ben and Chris, I don't know if you got the workbook. It's actually was on the LinkedIn event, and I think it was on the invitation for this, and I think it's also in the chat window.
Uh, hmm.
Hmm.
I'm looking. Let me see if I can get it. I
Oh
do
yeah, Angel
remember
just
there
put it
was an
out there. Thank
attachment.
you.
So
Oh,
there
that's
it
fine.
is.
Cool. And I'd also like your opinion on, using a workbook as opposed to just kind of diving into the book wherever people were struck by it. But I think, we've got such busy people and we've only got an hour. So, I think a workbook might be helpful for this discussion. We'll see how it goes. We may
No, I
change.
think the workbook's a good idea because it saves then I have a way I just take notes on the workbook. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
that works great. So appreciate your putting the effort into it.
Oh, no problem. And I love paper, so
Well, there you go.
paper and a pen. I'm still kind of a Neanderthal in that way.
It's funny how writing with that's why I like iPads. You get to write with a pen,
Hmm. That'll work too.
different than typing.
Yeah. Yep. It makes you slow your thoughts down. All right. If everybody's good, let's go on to page 3 and let's talk about the structure um, of the story. And I think, actually, I've got a set of cards that, story builder cards that I got. I think it was back in college when I was in a fiction writing class that, has a bunch of different cards where you have like character building and this and that and the other thing. And then you put the cards together and you have a story. So it's
Oh, I remember
all,
those.
yeah. I don't know if anybody else has taken a fiction writing class or anything like that, or had a teacher that was as crazy as mine, but it was really, really kind of cool to have that structure. But it's kind of the same thing on page 3, where you talk about a character, the problem, the guide, which of course is you or your company or your product or your service or your whatever, the plan, the action, the success, and the failure. And if you have all of those thought through, you've got a pretty darn good story. And we're probably not going to get a full story written today, but if anybody wants to get put on the spot, we can start that. But we kind of do that in the process of this. We help somebody do something so that they can whatever,
Right.
and then talk about the customer. So yeah, I mean it's kind of a long story, but if we want to go, if anybody wants to try working through, like Chris, I know you've got a new product that's kind of innovative. If you want to tell us about it in plain terms, and we can see if we can work it into a story. Or if you have a story already, that would be even better. But can put you on the spot, or if not, that's fine too.
Hey, Paula, sorry about that. Can you repeat your question?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, if you'd like, we can use your product as kind of our test case for today.
Yeah,
If you're up for that, just tell us about it, and then we'll see if we can follow the structure and make a story out of it.
sure. So, my product really is to centralize the transaction for aircraft brokers, right? We're using AI as well to analyze logbooks, camp reports, things of that nature. And then it ties in with a CRM that is built for the aircraft sales process. Also, while having the ability to do research on aircraft, such as costs, operational costs, ownership costs, things like that.
Excellent. So, if we were to think of your character or your ideal customer, that's another
Mhm.
way of looking at that. What would that person be like, and what keeps him up at night, and what are his problems that we are able to solve for him?
I think my ideal customer would be an aircraft broker that's maybe doing um, up to six airplanes a year. That's on average two a month, or what is it? If he's doing six, every 2 months he's selling one, right? So in those 2 months, it's a lot of paperwork he has to go through. Maybe he has a small team, right? One or two people on there, maybe that are market researchers, and that's really my target customer would be a broker that's not necessarily doesn't necessarily have a large team, but has a lot of workload. So we are also building out a Teams platform for larger brokerages that we aim for as well. But for now, would be that standalone broker with a small team that's doing at least six transactions a year.
Okay, so he's got a ton of research, a ton of paperwork to do, a bunch of things that could go wrong, lots of things that are driving him crazy and keeping him up at night, right?
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Okay. So then he meets you guys and engages your product. And this is where we have to build some empathy and some authority with that person. And this is the hard part with any new product, because you have to everybody underestimates the amount of effort that it takes to get somebody to stop doing things the way they always have and do them in a new way. Um,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah, so you probably already run into that where, somebody's like, well, I always do it this way. How do you get them? And usually this is kind of a mixture of empathy plus authority, those proof steps or those evidences of here's how we can help you and here's how we can make it easier for you, and you should trust us to
Yeah.
get into
Yeah.
this crazy airplane or whatever. Uh,
Exactly.
do you have any
Uh,
thoughts on how you do that yet? Or
yeah. So what I've been kind of seeing is that we can post a lot, right, and show a lot of people what we do or tell a lot of people what we do, but it really comes to booking that demo,
yeah,
right, and showing them the tool being used. If they have a question inside their workflow, like for example, we can bring a mass upload of contacts, right, and our AI can analyze it and tell you that either you're duplicating one, or if you're uploading a list again that has the same client, it'll tell you what's changed. It'll also create a listing within 1 minute. So what I kind of start off with is how long does it take for your team to create a listing, to put it on to create a brochure, to create a listing and put it on your site, right? And sometimes they tell me it's about a week back and forth talking to our developers to get it on the website. I can do that process within 30 seconds. With the
wow,
yes, with the spec sheet. So when they see that, they say, "Wow, that saved me a week of time already on just one small part of the app." So let me see what the CRM can do. Let me see what the AI analyzer can do for the logbooks, and also centralizing all that into one platform.
gotcha. Okay, so that's kind of your step four is showing them the plan in a demo, and then they see, oh wow, you can take my spec sheet and you can make that work, and they can see that happen.
Exactly. Yes.
Is
So
that when the light bulbs come on?
usually, yeah, that's what we're learning is that when we show them that we can save that time by creating a listing, and that's the most simple thing the app does. um, you can see the spark in their interest.
Mhm.
The hard part is transitioning them from being interested in the app to getting actually onto a demo, right?
Okay.
So how do we get that message across early where they're fully committed when they see it, instead of us having to schedule a demo. And sometimes demos take a week or two to get everybody's schedule aligned just to get on the demo. And so yeah, that's kind of the rough spot we're at
Yeah,
for that.
exactly. So, kind of between step 3 and step 4, you meet the guide, you trust that they trust you enough to do the demo anyway, to give you an hour of their time. But then, getting that time together and, busy people are insanely hard to pin down for half an hour. How long is your demo? Is that like
I aim for 30 minutes, but usually we get into a conversation after and it lasts about an hour.
an
So
hour?
yeah.
That's fair. Right. And you may want to ask for an hour, say this is going to be worth an hour of your time and I promise you we're going to earn it.
Exactly.
Something along those lines. But okay, so you've got a step 3 and a step 4. It sounds like maybe there's more that could be done to make that stronger, but those exist.
Hmm.
But then from that point, you call them to action. So you have your now that you've had a demo, the next step is
The next step is to get them on the trial for at least 14 days. We aim for 2 weeks, but sometimes I'll be lenient and offer them a whole month of the trial.
uh-huh.
So that's another waiting period that we're looking at, is either the 2 week trial that they get or a month, right? So we're seeing them use the tool. Are they using it correctly? Are they inputting information? Are they actually using it every day?
Yeah.
So we have to wait a month for it to see the use of the app that they're using, get some feedback on it. Once they're completed with that, then they transition into a paid membership if that's something they want. But again, it's just a lot of waiting game with those 2 weeks or a month that we have to give for a free trial.
Right, because you got to get them to a success, something that they can see and go, yes, we did what we wanted to do. Ideally they sell an airplane, but that takes up to 2 months for the ideal
Exactly.
for
Hmm.
that customer that you've outlined, sometimes longer.
Oh yeah, it sometimes takes longer. A lot of it time sometimes too is from experience. It's not usually the workload. It's just you got to go through a long process with maintenance, and if something pops up, you're waiting for parts, you're waiting for mechanics, you're waiting for pilots to deliver the aircraft. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of moving parts in a transaction. We try to stop a lot of those parts and put them in one spot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so you have a success, and maybe we need to define the success as something other, obviously the sale of an aircraft is the ultimate, I mean that makes them really happy because they've gone through the whole process. They're good with all that. But maybe a picture of success would be something more along the lines of how is this comparing to your other listings if you're doing a test listing on this
Right.
demo or something. So
Mhm.
yeah, then you have a strong step 6, which is your success, and then you're avoiding failure, which is doing it the old way, the downsides of doing it the old way, and communicating that very clearly.
Exactly. Yes.
Cool. Anybody else want to run through the structure on page 3 with a product or service? And Ben, we could do it with a shareholder or with a DB2LX booking, or position order or something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, investor is our focus at the moment.
Right. Okay. So you have
So
character. Your
yeah,
character is
well,
your investor.
the
They're all characters.
character is, sorry, yeah, the character is the investor. That's true.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to assume that they're looking for a place to put their money, right? They've got to, if they're an investor, they're, so right now we're working across a couple of different investment schemes. And that's one of the challenges. The story changes depending on the customer.
Yeah.
Our customers are, so in some cases they're, high net worth individuals or family office type investors. So they have money, they need to be engaged,
Yeah.
right? The money is there or will be there, and they're trying to find the best use for it across low risk, high return, some balance of understanding, and in some cases, they want to be involved in the investment. So they want to have knowledge of the field. So that's the character. In other case, they're more of a fund. It's a commercial operation. So now they have money they need to engage, but they're not looking for a return in cash. They're looking for a return in effect,
Yeah.
right? So they're trying to build up technical work skills in a community,
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
So they have like 2 different remote locations that they need to get people to and from, and that's their,
no, the other way around.
yeah.
They have, if they're a university, they're saying, okay, we want to draw in students and teach them a technical trade,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
we want to give them real experience. So we're going to invest in an airplane company so that they can employ students as
Smart.
interns and then eventually as professionals. So it's like, well, for example, the New South Wales here in Australia, there's a whole group of federal money available if you're willing to work in the rural communities to build up professional careers.
Gotcha.
So the government would say, okay, we'll subsidize putting a facility in a rural community if you'll hire locals and teach them a technical trade.
So your character is actually like a university program director or,
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? So in one case, the character is an investor looking to make a return,
yeah.
cash return.
Yeah.
In another case, the character is an investor whose return is non-cash.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very different sort of. They're looking for very different things. So when
Right.
you get to step 2, their problems are different.
Their problems are different. So yeah, for this exercise, let's pick one. Pick your
Yeah,
favorite.
well, yeah, I guess we
Pick your
better.
favorite
Yeah,
child.
okay. Yeah. So if you were, I mean, the harder cases when they're looking to have a social economic impact
Yeah.
rather than a cash return.
Gotcha.
Because
Okay.
we can talk about cash returns, but we have to show a social economic impact.
Yeah.
We'd be really good for that.
Right.
If we say that's the case.
Mhm. So
Um,
step 3 is the guide is you. You've got a ton of experience with a ton of different things. So I think, you're in an ideal position to kind of guide them through how to make this happen. You work with government entities and big companies and organizations and everything else. So in this case, you would be their guide, right? And especially in Australia, and you're local now.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so number 3, you're the guide. You give them
Make
a
their
plan.
goals happen. Yeah. Hmm.
Make that as simple and low risk as you possibly can. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then their call to action is,
Oh, this will be good.
yeah, what do you want them to do? Do you go to them? Do they come to you? Do you show them something? Do you have a meeting or a dinner? Or, I mean, how does that,
Yeah.
what's the first?
Normally it's a meeting right there.
Okay. So you go to the
It's
university,
actually the call to action is
take a meeting?
that we're interesting enough of an opportunity, right? Because if you're the government of New South Wales, if you're the government, the federal government, and you're trying to develop technical skills in a rural community, you
Yeah.
have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there are just a ton of ways you could develop technical skills.
Yeah. Computer
So,
stuff, um, electricians, I mean, everything probably.
right. So the call to action is how do we get them interested enough in us
Mhm.
to go to the next step? To engage. So the call to action is to engage
Mhm.
so we can have discussions.
Yeah.
Okay, that
So
makes sense.
Yeah, and the most attractive thing about this versus somebody that's teaching electricians or plumbers or whatever is that every university has to attract students. And isn't it easier to attract students to a program that is working on the 2LX, or the DBT program, because everybody wants to be in aviation, especially anybody who, like Adila, has just gotten addicted and can't work in any other field now.
Right, right. And so
Right.
the idea is, because we're harping the fact that if they're looking to even go into aviation, if you were going to
Yeah.
make an aviation investment, why build an old plane when you can
Yeah.
build a new plane?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So that's a great call to action. What does
Hmm.
success look like for them? It's building a program that every kid in Australia wants to be in on.
Hmm. Success looks like.
They have a waiting list for enrollment because everybody wants in on these internships.
Hmm. Let me think for a second.
Yeah.
Um.
That's why I love these, because we get to put people on the spot and make them think fast.
Right. Why not?
Listen
So
to this.
they met the guy that's call to action, the end success. Ends to success. I mean, success for them is going to be, yeah, I guess that's right. The success for them is going to be that people will want to be part, that the population they are trying to engage, their character
Hmm.
is interested in engaging in doing something new and innovative and different and
Yeah.
unique. I think that's right.
And they want to put their program on the map. So the mayor and all the local kids and everybody and all the local parents and everybody else is just really excited about this program. So that's your success picture. And you have to paint a really vivid picture of success. Just as we were listening to Adila this morning and just feeling the enthusiasm roll off, I mean, that's what you're after. You want those kids to go home and talk about, I did this thing and it's going to make this plane and it's going to be so different from everything else that's out there. And it's going to have 5 times the lift and 3 times I mean, it's just going to be fantastic. And I was part of it, and I made this happen. And I made this little piece on this little plane, and I'm part of this big story. And using the same tone of voice that Adila just used,
Right.
with the same emotion and enthusiasm and energy and everything. I mean, that's what's missing, I think. Or they could have just the same old program that trains plumbers.
Right.
So there's your success and your failure.
I'm just trying to write some of that down.
Okay.
Right. Yep. No, that makes sense. I think, you think about Boeing did the 747,
Yeah.
and for, 20, 30 years, anybody could look and see it was a 747. Everybody knew Boeing built it. All these Boeing employees could point to it and say, we built the biggest passenger airliner in the world.
Yeah. That was an exciting program at the time, I'm sure.
Even years after,
Yeah. Yeah.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to think about that.
Yeah. I think you've got a really powerful story for the right investor.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
So we'll let you stew on that for a little bit while we're
Are
kind
we at oh, I see. Help avoid failure was your other comment that says, or you can just build the same old thing.
or you could just, yeah, have a regular program that trains plumbers or whatever, that doesn't have an exciting project that kids are working on. Just do the same old thing as the same old every other university does, and be fighting for students because you don't have anything special.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So,
Thanks.
oh, you're
Good.
welcome.
Oh.
Yeah. Moving on to page 4, so this is kind of getting into the nitty gritty of maybe refining that now that you got kind of an idea of your big story, refining the one-liner. This is how you introduce your story. We help university programs create value or create an exciting and valuable program so that they can recruit more students and more money and more everything else and have a more successful program. And in Chris's case, we help brokers manage all of that data and all of that stuff much more efficiently so that they can sell more aircraft more successfully, take the grunt work out of the process. Anybody else have one they want to boil down to a one-liner?
Does it have to be help?
No, well, no. We
Okay.
just put a outline in there just for the sake of having an outline. But yeah, well, you're the guide. So what would you use rather than help? Tell me about that.
Yeah. I just kind of think, it's more of a we would provide a unique opportunity to build, or we would provide an opportunity to build a unique aircraft.
Yeah. So you're helping them build a program around the aircraft.
Yeah. What did I
So
just
they're
say?
the hero of the
We,
story. They're building the program. You're just helping. And this is how you position
oh,
yourself as
I
a
see.
guide. Yeah, that's why we use the
I
term
see.
help, but you don't have to use the word help, but you need to be positioning yourself as, they're the hero. You're just um, the humble whatever. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong because they try to be the hero of the story. And the other guy
Right.
needs to be the hero.
Right. Yep. That's what I was doing. Okay. Keep
Yeah.
going. Sorry. Okay. I'll think about that.
Okay. Chris,
We
do you want to
provide.
give it a shot on the one-liner?
Who, me? Who did you say?
Oh, Chris, I'm sorry.
Chris. Good. Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
Your
Can
turn,
you
Chris.
could you repeat that question
Chris, you
again?
get to do the one-liner. Getting
The
you off
one
the
liner.
spotlight.
If you want
Honestly,
Staying,
yeah.
Chris. Staying,
Right.
Chris.
Page 4, the one-liner. If you wanted to take a stab at that for your product, we help blank do blank so that they can, and I kind of took a stab at it for you, but I know you can do a better job of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see. I know the first one would be we help aircraft brokers do uh we help aircraft brokers do aircraft transactions so simpler so they can I don't know. I feel like I had this one in the bag and now that you got me on the spot.
Exactly. So that they can spend their time doing the personal interactions instead of the paperwork,
There you go. That makes sense. Yes. Let's
I
go
don't
with
want to
that.
put words in your mouth. That's not sanitary, but
No, I think that's right. I think the we just have multiple approaches we can go at, right? But
yeah, yeah,
finding that one right sentence would benefit us
yeah.
all. So
Yeah. And
um,
sometimes it's just that first one-liner that really gets people into the story, so that we can get that rolling. Anybody else want to try with a client or a project or your own situation or anything else?
Yeah, I'm working through it. We help you build a successful, but I like make them a hero. We help you build a successful. And I'm just thinking, you know, um, technology. I guess they're technical skilled workforce or something.
Mm-hmm.
Successful program. We help you build a successful program to, I don't know, build. I'll have to work on the words.
Cool.
Build a, what do we call them? Technical skill base or something.
Cool.
Skill base across design.
Yeah, we're not going to get all of this perfect today, but I think we see the value of having a one-liner. So let's move on to the problem on page 5. So defining the problem externally, what's happening internally, philosophically, and then, your vagueness indicators. So, how you deal with that. So, Ben, I guess, the problem that your customer is having is they want to build a program that everybody's going to want to be involved in. Internally, they don't want to go out on a limb and do something crazy, but they do need
Right.
to do something innovative. So it has to be proven but cool. So that's kind of the internal thing. They don't want, and what it costs them personally. If they go out and do something crazy, then the cost to them is that they're going to look silly to their superiors. The mayor is going to frown on them. I mean, the community is going to shun them. They're going to never be able to show their face in public again because they did something stupid or they misused the resources. So you need to make sure that they understand the cost, of them getting it wrong, and you are in it with them and you understand that and you are not going to let them fail.
Right.
So, that's how you prevent that. Chris, in your case, you've got brokers. The external is, they're having a hard time getting listings. It's keeping them up at night. They're worried about their sellers and their buyers looking down on them or finding something hard to use or not finding the documentation they want. Um, and what it feels to them is they're just afraid, in a lot of cases of failing or of not selling this aircraft because they screwed something up.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, one thing they can fear is also too is just missing something very early, right? With the logbooks or missing something simple.
Oh, man.
So that could be one, and then just not having a visible brochure or a listing to send off to other people. That's something they could fear.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you understand the problem really well, and you've kind of, Sandler calls this, what do they call this, John? Where you're like needling the wound or whatever, where you're basically taking the pain that they are feeling if something isn't going right, and you're making it worse. Agitating is what they call it.
Yeah.
Agitation. And I've always thought that this was kind of ethically squishy. You don't want to make people feel worse. That's kind of the opposite of why we're here. We want to make people feel better. But in order to sell something, we need to understand the problem, understand the pain, understand all of that well enough that we can articulate it. And
You're just putting a microscope on the problem.
right, exactly. And I think in a lot of cases, we just gloss this over because that's always been my nature. When, I run into a problem, it's just like you just jump right over it. We don't talk about it. We don't deal with it. We don't mess with it. If I'm sick, I just power through, and just get involved with work so that I forget that I'm sick and I just carry on with my day. But this is the opposite of that. You want to really discover, okay, so what bug is it? And what should I take to make myself feel better? And do I need to go to the Instacare and get a test done to see if I have a cold or the flu or whatever? And that will help me get better faster. So this diagnostic of what really is the problem, and in some cases you have to go, and this makes me feel worse when I'm sitting in a doctor's office going, how do I describe this to the doctor? Then I'm just like delving into my own symptoms and everything else. So I hate doing this, but it's part of the process, and it is part that I skip to my detriment in a lot of cases. It's just like, I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to deal with this. I just want to get through it. And but this is what we have to do for our clients as well. Help them understand, this is the problem that you're dealing with. It is bad enough to devote the time and energy to fix it, because otherwise they'll just keep doing what they've been doing. And they'll never buy our product or service because they're doing fine now, obviously, without it. But you need to make sure that the problem is bad enough that it's worth fixing. So that's page 5. Anybody want to take a stab at this with one of your clients or one of your situations? Or I hate to keep picking on Ben and Chris, but they're so fun to pick on.
Oh, I think Chris dropped out.
Yeah, I think he may have had a technical issue, but yeah.
Dig
So Ben,
deep. So, yay! Well, this is very handy.
yeah.
We're looking at an investment possibility, and I'm trying to make sure that, and we're partnered with somebody to get it.
Yeah.
So I want to try and feed the partner. I sent them the letters of support video we did, which they liked.
Oh, fun. Okay.
So they're working with a possible investor. We're a partner with them. They know the investor.
Nice.
They have a pretty good relationship, but they're trying to win a fairly sizable investment, and they need something unique
Yeah.
to help, and that's where we come in. We're the
Yeah.
unique aircraft design.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you look at, okay, so if you look at going back to the case study, right? If the challenge is we want technical skills, what's happening? There's a lack of technical skills.
Mhm.
The internal how it feels, what it costs is that your rural communities, if you will, or wherever it is, they don't have a growth
Avenue. Yeah.
they don't have a growth opportunity because
Yeah.
there aren't jobs
Yeah.
or high paying jobs,
Mhm.
right? Because the idea is not to draw everybody into the city
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
where
Okay.
costs spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their
I'll
kids
have
move
to,
out because they need opportunities. And, that's heartbreaking for some of these communities.
well, it kills the community, right? That's really interesting. There'll be notes. You're sending notes out, right?
Oh, of
Notes from
course.
this?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I write because I have to think.
Of
So,
course.
okay,
Oh,
the
I know. And I
challenge
wish I
is,
could because
but I like to write. It helps me.
yeah,
The
exactly.
cost is people leave
Yeah.
and money leaves.
Yeah.
Your tax base, all that
Mhm.
sort of moves.
And this philosophical thing, this is something that politicians do so well. They find somebody to blame for what's going on, and they exacerbate the problem. So, why this is wrong and why this is unfair is because those rural communities could be so vibrant and so cool and so much better quality of life than what they're going to find in the city. And they're moving away from their grandparents and they're missing out on their, I mean, it's just, there's a lot you could push on there as well.
Mhm. So the internal, how it feels versus philosophical, what's wrong.
Yeah.
I might have those a bit. I'll have to think about that. So the internal, how it feels. People are leaving, communities are dying, tax bases move. Why it's unfair. Um, yeah, I don't know about that. Why it's unfair. Well,
Well,
it's
it's
wrong
unfair because the
because
cities get all the big opportunities.
right, right.
And that's not right, I mean, because it is, the kids think that they're going to have a better life in an urban area. They move away from these rural communities. And so they're leaving behind a lot of good that, could be. They could raise their kids, near their grandparents. I mean, there's, a lot of emotional stuff that you could could throw in there if they were able to stay in their communities.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you got
Vagueness indicators?
Vagueness indicators. Yeah. So what do you do?
Oh, you're saying this is the action step?
Well, vagueness indicators are, how do they show? And I'm trying to remember from the book. I don't know if anybody caught this a little bit better. This was a weak spot for me. I wasn't really clear on, but I think this is where the deal sometimes stalls in, if you need to push on the customer problem more, what
I
are the
see.
signals that you need to push the problem as opposed to pushing the solution? Because a lot of people, like I do, jump to the solution, and that's something I need to dwell on the problem more. In a lot of cases in my salesmanship, I need to spend more time agitating, my Sandler coach would say.
Say that
So
again. You have to dwell on what?
dwell on the problem, agitate the
Oh,
problem. Yeah.
got it.
So, rather than jumping to the solution, you agitate the problem. So these are indicators that they don't believe the problem yet. It's just, or they don't think that there is a connection between the problem and the solution yet. They need to spend a little.
maybe they just need to be challenged.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I got it. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Great.
Hmm.
And yeah, we're not going to get through the rest of this in the next 10 minutes, but we're going to do the next page and then kind of leave it there, I think. But yeah, let's maybe have hate to keep picking on Ben. Does anybody else have an example you want to try for worksheet number 3, your guide, your plan, and your CTAs?
This is very good for me, actually. So, I'm not worried. I have one of the, it's the middle of the night. I'm here because it's valuable. So,
Well, I'm so happy that you are. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to run at the end of the hour. Otherwise, we could do this all night. But
oh God,
I know it'd be so much fun to
have
do
you
book club all night. Yeah.
seen Jessica Felice? There's a Marvel. There's a there's a one of the Marvel series. They have the Captain America guy singing "I Can Do This All Day."
Oh,
It's a really interesting. It gets in your head, and it's funny. He just because that's his tagline, when he's fighting and he's fighting
yeah. I could
somebody,
do
and
this
he's
all
like,
day.
"I can do this all day." Well, now they have a song.
Oh
Leave it to
no.
Disney. They've
Uh-huh.
written a song. But
Of course
okay,
it's
yeah, I
Disney.
can do this all
Great.
day.
Of course they've got this stuff.
Worksheet guide.
Okay.
Empathy statement.
Cool.
Oh, this
So
is
who
good.
has
I'll have to work on
vision?
this because
Angel, you've got
I could
vision.
use this. I could do
Let's
this.
try that one with an empathy statement that vision could use with a client. You're up to your ears in bankers' boxes of records. You just spent 4 hours going through a bunch of lunch receipts looking for a particular um, aircraft record or a 8130 form that you need for an aircraft transaction, and it's hidden somewhere in this pile of boxes over here. That would be an empathy statement, something, you understand the problem, you understand what they're going through. Um, or let's try a different one. If we did, um, Sketflex. So a new one.
So if I said,
Yeah.
if I were to say, I know I'm barging in,
No, that's okay.
sucking
Go
up
ahead.
all the oxygen. If I said, hey, we understand the challenge of developing a workforce or
Yeah.
finding a way, because that is a challenge, right? Right now, if you're talking to Gen X, you're talking to the younger generation, there's software, there are games, computers. And now I'm
Crypto.
saying, no,
Yeah.
no, don't do that. We
Mhm.
want you to rivet something together or stand around in a noisy factory assembling an airplane,
Come
which
build
takes,
something real. Yeah.
well, it takes months and years to
Yeah.
design something and build it. It's technical, it's detail oriented. It's
Mhm.
not, AI code building more code to run a game that you can then play. Mm,
Yeah, you could be Claude coding or you could be doing this.
yeah, that's good. We understand the challenge.
Mhm.
Oops.
Or farm spray drones, is another really good one. We understand the problem with having months to wait until your fields dry out enough to spray. So, because your tractor's going to get stuck and then you're going to have to go get it. And then, you're going to spend half a day trying to fix this problem because the fields were too wet when you tried to sow your seeds, and you have to hit this weather window. If you do it the old way, you're going to have all of these problems. But if you use farm spray drones, you can seed your fields right now. You don't have to wait for them to dry out. Um, the empathy statement is we get it. You're going to miss a window. You have a lot of anxiety because you're going to miss a season, that kind of thing. Um, Anybody else have an example that you could use with a client? Empathy statements.
For a charter company, like we understand how frustrating and exhausting and inefficient travel can be, especially when your time directly impacts your performance or decisions. So you shouldn't have to plan your day around delays or uncertainty, something
Right.
like that.
Like you're supposed to be in a meeting right now, but instead you're in an airport somewhere. Yeah, stuck. No, that's a good one. And I like the fact that you use some emotion words with it too, how frustrating and upsetting and all of that.
Oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, no,
uh,
good job. Let's do one more and then we'll wrap up. Anybody have an empathy statement they can try?
can you hear me?
Yes, uh-huh.
I was thinking air nurses, their problem, they solve this problem about the people who need um, medical support or medical assistant for their flight, and they should not be like waiting for the companies to like give them long days and stuff like this. So that like we understand that you should not be thinking about all the planning stuff instead of thinking about your own health, and we can help you do this in a very comfortable way. So I think that is for air nurses
Oh
something.
yeah, I love that. That's great. Fantastic. All right. So yeah, just skipping to the end, of the worksheets. The way that we do content, typically is we do 1,500 word articles. We do SEO, we do social posts, we do video, we do email, postal mail, and paid ads. But you guys can see, I think, how all of that is better when it's deeper. And one way to go deeper is to use these stories and to use this framework to put those stories together. So, we can do a deep, deep, deep story in 1,500 words. And, each of those bits and pieces might not be a full story in itself, although I have seen, 30-second stories that were pretty compelling. But, each of those other bits and pieces either refer to the story or refer to part of the story and get you really, really deep in pretty quickly. Because, just like when Adila started telling her story, we're all going, oh my gosh, how did this happen? And then what happened? And obviously you're still here with us. So, obviously it ended well. But, when people have some emotion behind what they're doing, that really, really brings it to life and brings some depth that we don't otherwise have, and that's, I think, the problem with so much social media, so much LinkedIn and everything else. There's no stories behind it. It's just surface bleh. AI
Um,
stock, right? Hmm. Go ahead.
if you read, like when I'm doing Bath newsletters,
Yeah.
I love that Jason used so much storytelling in
Yeah.
his articles, so much that I get so it gets so interesting when I'm doing the newsletter because I read all that he has written it in a way in a storytelling way. So I think so storytelling is one of the main factor that actually let the reader read. Like they actually read because it's a story, and
Yeah.
they connect and they remember you. When it's a story, they remember you.
Right. Yeah. And Jason is a great writer and a great storyteller. And dealing with safety, of course, there I was when all of a sudden the wing fell off. Of course, you have to know the rest of the story. So and how could it have been prevented and what went wrong and how did they get there? And now what happens? And, he's really, really good at setting up stories. And he's got a ton of them because of the business that he's in. So that's a great example. All right, cool. Well, thanks, you guys. I really appreciate you coming, and I think we'll keep doing the workbooks for book clubs, and keep going this way, and putting you guys on the spot. It's always fun to do that in my evil little voice. So. Yeah, you guys have a lovely afternoon and good luck with whatever you're doing, and make sure you include more stories in whatever you're doing next. Talk to you soon.
Good. Thanks.
Thanks.
Congrats on your first flight.
Yeah, congratulations, Adila. That's wonderful.
Thank you so
Talk to
much.
you
More
guys.
to go. More to come.
More to come. Gotcha. Cool. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.